Hello, everyone. This is Mark Anthony with Good Sports Media, and on the other end of this conversation is Rick.
I'm Rick Rowe. People that don't know, I'm an enormous giant. We're out here at the Las Vegas side, and of course, I kind of stay hidden. They don't want me to be an attraction out here. So okay,
Yeah.
what's up, bud? How's it going, Mark?
This is this is the dog days of winter, man. There's sports is boring right now.
I suppose we have that here in Vegas as opposed to the dog days of summer. Yeah, all the summer, most all the summer days are dog days out here anyway. It's kind of a slow sports time, Mark. Uh, there's some different things going on. We're getting ready to do all kinds of stuff. We're getting ready to do this mega fight, and as a skep and I was on Yahoo Sports the other night too, and there was a thread that's one of the stories, 14 comments. I was the fifth, and uh, all but one of them were skeptical that the fight was going to take place. I kind of thought I was a lone voice in the wilderness, and it seems to be absolutely. But Lee Samuels, my friend and longtime publicist for Top Rank, he and Floyd certainly relationship. I mean, Lee's one of the guys ever to get to be involved with and get to deal with and work with. Man, he's just a super guy. He says Floyd's in the gym and he's going to take the fight. Lee says he thinks he's going to be there in the ring. Now, again, I remain skeptical, Mark. I think the guy's going to have a rib injury or a hand injury, some freak knee thing. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's hard to say. Yeah, I'm somebody. There's a doctor somewhere who will sign his name to a paper saying, the guy's got a new thing that came from a meteor that had bounced off of Mars or something. So there's always to come up medically with some excuse to stop a fight. But boxing is a strange sport in that there's so many people that can stop a fight. So many ways a fight can end. The referee can stop it when he thinks he's had enough. Okay, and God bless my one of my friends is Kenny Bayless, and I have always told him, if my boy was in the ring, I would hope you would be the referee in that ring, because you stop a fight. You don't care what the score is, and he doesn't know what the score is. He knows who's getting their butt kicked, but he has no idea of the scoring from the judges. There's no interaction with him. Robert Hoyle, another good friend of mine, won a very good day in Nevada, the first African American man to be a boxing judge in Nevada. Which, if you just think of the overwhelming number of African American men who boxed and who made Las Vegas millions and millions of dollars, it's kind of odd that we had. It's kind of sad that we had to wait for Bobby Hoyle to be a judge. But anyhow, when you think boxing, the ringside doctor, if somebody's cut or whatever, they take him over to the side, and the doctor says, no, he can't go on. The referee stop it. Either boxer can stop it. The corner can stop it by throwing in the towel. It's like, okay, in NASCAR flag or a red flag, one of the other. Everything else is kind of in football, it's basketball, but things stop. So I guess it's the same way on the lead up to a fight. Again, Mark, it's huge money. I talked to Lee, and the rumor just going around was it's going to be at least $1,000 a seat in the nosebleed territory. And Lee laughed, and he said he did not have the ticket pricing in yet from MGM. But just to give you an idea, he said they were just as a ballpark thing, somewhere between 2,200 and 25 for the very top seats there at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, where this fight will take place. And you think about the fight, Mark. You've seen, you've been exposed to some of these things in Las Vegas just because you're here, and and we do sports shows. Been exposed to the preamble, and you have probably more knowledge of these things than just a normal Joe sitting in a bar. What's your thoughts on this fight, man?
a shitload of money is going to change hands. That's all I can say. I mean,
It's what it's
it's,
about.
well, I'm sorry. You and I grew up where, with Muhammad Ali, where they go out and they just beat the living crap out of each other. Okay, this is going to be, 12 rounds of them dancing around each other, maybe, a hit or two here. I mean, both of them are walking away with $100 million. You know, I
I mean, we have cops out there and Marines in Afghanistan and et cetera, et cetera. So no, the value is there only because they bring that much money in. Mark, back out here at the Las Vegas sign.
well,
A
yeah,
couple things. Floyd Mayweather's fights are not fun to watch. Mike Tyson was fun to watch. He's going to knock the living crap out of somebody at some point in time in this fight. When he started, it was a first round. If the guy lasted into the second round, it's because he was on his bicycle. Manny Pacquiao, on the other hand, win, lose, or draw, he's always very exciting because he goes forward and he throws punches. Floyd does not like that style. Floyd does not like a guy that won't back up a little bit. Floyd peppers him with his jab, which you mentioned Muhammad Ali. That's what he used to do to set guys up. He had that lightning quick jab. Well, the lightning is now kind of down to a thunderstorm, and when you lose that, it wasn't going to intimidate Pacquiao in the first place. So Floyd knows there's a part of this game plan for this fight for Floyd Mayweather Jr. is I'm going to get hit. And this little SOB hits really hard. Everybody mentions that, Mark, that has been in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people, or a good number of people, accuse Manny Pacquiao of roiding up. And if you look at his physique, he doesn't have that roid physique. When Fernando Vargas, who now lives here in Las Vegas, fought Oscar De La Hoya, you looked at him, man, and just that chiseled, he looked like he was trying out for the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated. I mean, he was absolutely chiseled. But guys get that from steroids because it builds up everything. Manny doesn't really show that. I've never seen anything that would be visible. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible. But hits, and you see people just like, damn, and this little guy just smacked me with something that a big guy usually throws. And so Floyd doesn't like that style, Mark. And again, Floyd's fights are not that much fun to watch unless you're a real aficionado. It's almost like going to an art museum. Okay, if you didn't know the guy painted it with his toes because he was, paralyzed on his right side or something, it's just another piece of art to you unless you know the rest of the story, kind of, unless you're a big boxing nut. Okay, Floyd as a boxer is great to watch. For a fight, nah, not so much. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and as we evolve, we have UFC, and people are going more towards that because there's action. I just looked on a ticket site. Upper rear row R sells for $3,913 for 8 tickets. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think R might be the very top row up there, and then there's the sky boxes are up there. You would have to call them, and people pay big money so they can watch on the TV screen in the skybox because you're far enough away. I mean, you can see what's going on. There's just something special about being rings. Do you have any idea what it takes to be considered for ringside seating? To be considered to be allowed to buy tickets, most anything ringside is not going to be purchased. It's going to be gifted.
Right.
But regardless, to be considered, you have to have a minimum of $250,000 line with MGM Grand Mirage to be considered for ringside seating. So that's a pretty rare rare air there. So if that's the starting point, you got to figure that there's people that have $1 million or much more lines of credit there. I'm certain Michael Jordan's line of credit, and Tiger Woods' line of credit are that much. And if they want to sit down, they have that ability, and you're going to see a Gucci row to beat all good.
Well, the thing I like about it, because we haven't had a fight like this in ages, and Vegas, I mean, Vegas puts out the fireworks. I mean, every private jet from here to Dubai is going to be here. Every high roller, anyone who thinks they're a high roller, is going to be here. Even if you're not going to watch the fight, the people watching here that weekend is going to be right off the charts. You're going to see everybody who thinks they're anybody.
Absolutely. You better enjoy that.
Yes.
Yeah. And dress to the nines and putting it on and making Vegas Vegas. There is so much pressure on this fight, Mark. I don't think the public really realizes it. If this fight sucks, they're talking about 129 per view for the high def. If this fight, which it certainly has the challenge, it doesn't take a huge crystal ball to see that Floyd makes people look bad. It's not real entertaining to watch what he does, as I just mentioned. Why he's a practitioner of the sweet science, and he's wonderful at it. But in a real fist fight, that's a different story. I mean, it's not like he can't fight, but it's just a different deal. Manny's the blue collar guy. That's the one that's fun to watch. You see that little guy stone somebody, and he knocked one of the Manny Pacquiao fight I saw was he and Juan Manuel Marquez, and he knocks Marquez down 3 times in the first round, but his manager at the time, Murad Muhammad, had agreed to the gloves that Marquez's camp wanted to put on Manny, and they were like pillows. They did weigh 10 ounces, but where the placement of the padding in the gloves affects the overall performance of the glove. So if you can get a guy that's got a real big punch to have all the padding up front on the front of the gloves, then he has to score. He has to beat you with boxing because he's not going to knock you out. At least it minimizes. It's like softballs in NASCAR. It takes up more of the punch, more of the action. So anyway, he knocks Mark, but the first knockdown, he picked him up off the canvas and knocked him down. It wasn't like he hit the guy fell down. He literally picked him up. His feet cleared the canvas, going backwards. He boom, and Marquez looked up like, wow, And thank God he's Raw's little brother. I'm sure they had some real bouts. Former champion Raul Marquez, and he got up and Manny knocked him down twice more. Most fights, 3 knockdown rule, it would have been over. I saw Iran Barkley lose his world title to Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer. 3 knockdowns in the first round. Wasn't even a real knockdown. Davey Pearl looked to the people on the side like he was taking a vote, and said, yeah, okay, I guess we'll stop the fight. So I've seen stupider things, but that's one of the draws on Manny's record. I think he's lost like 5 or 6 fights, Mark, and 2 he's 57-7-2 or something like that. So the fight's not important to Manny record wise, and Floyd's taken a huge chance on that 0, and he'll be just another good champion, just another guy that was the best of his time. But if this fight sucks, man, boxing is it is a huge nail in the coffin of boxing as we know it. $100. Imagine shelling out $100 for pay-per-view and you're snoring by the 5th round or 6th round. And Roger Mayweather says it's not going to go past 5. Well, if he's right, that means they're sitting Floyd on the stool and telling him what the hell happened to him right after the end of the 5th round. Floyd does not win by knockout. Floyd couldn't knock Manny out if he took off the gloves. So. That's just where that stands. Floyd's got no knockout power whatsoever, particularly at this point in his career. His hands are beat up.
Well, I mean, I remember Tyson, and all of the backlash because his fights lasted 90 seconds.
That's why he lost. He ended up going to Tokyo and losing. Nobody would buy. Nobody wanted to pay $50 at that time for 3 minutes of action.
Yes,
you can get that from a hooker.
Okay, so
I'm just saying.
Okay, so if say they they stop, or Pacquiao or whatever, somebody says that that I have a toenail fungus and I can't do the fight.
Yeah.
At one point, at what point leading up to this does that become a legitimate versus he just doesn't want to fight? If they call it off
All
in
right, Mark.
April,
Let me ask you this.
okay.
They've got all the build up and everything, and people will okay. This guy's going to replace Floyd Mayweather, and Manny will still fight or whatever. I think it'll fall apart. But if it's canceled, Mark, yeah. Again, I think Floyd got painted into a corner, and here's the premise of this entire argument. Floyd has had this offer on the table for at least 5 years. Nothing changed. No, all he had to do was put his name on there, and they would have let him damn near fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Manny's agreed to everything. It is every excuse to not have this fight has been run down the pike that sounded any kind of plausible, just any kind of maybe plausible why this fight didn't happen. From blood testing to everything that you could have happen that was believable. They used as an excuse. Floyd had no excuses left. And so he agreed to the fight. Okay? It's like NASA. Well, that rocket's sitting over there on the launching pad. That don't mean it's going to Mars anytime soon. The birds were flying by. The cloud cover was too bad. There was a storm on Mars. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And you get the press without ever having to take a punch. Floyd's got enough money. He's not going broke. He wants the glory. I'm sure it's a mixed thing for Floyd. He likes the glory. He likes the damn spotlight, dude. On the other hand, he likes the fact that he could beat Rocky Marciano's record with 3 more victories. And it doesn't matter if he beats the crap out of tomato cans for 3 more victories. He will be the record holder, the top of the mountain. The new Mount Everest will be Floyd Mayweather Jr. I still, about Rocky Marciano, 49-0, the only guy to retire as an undefeated champion in any weight class at any time in any. That's it. There's one guy there. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has the chance to be number 1, and I think that's more important to him than who he's beaten to get there. And again, Mark, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a real thing. I don't necessarily think that's bad. Floyd has earned it. He's brought a hell of a lot of money. You talked about the money ramifications. You look at the money that a big fight generates, not necessarily for us. They call it the trickle-down thing. By the time it trickles down to the schmuck working at 7-Eleven, it's a few pennies one way or the other in his paycheck. If that. The big money does end up in pockets, and it does. It does make it somewhere, but it's what fuels Las Vegas. It's what makes Vegas Vegas. So people come in, and if you're lucky enough to, a big fight week does generate money for the cabbies and the hotels and the restaurants and the bars and the hookers and on and on and on. So it's a good week to be here. But the money that's spent, when they say it brought 80 billion in or whatever, 800 million, however, whatever figure they put on there, it's difficult to say that it comes to every single Las Vegas resident just by the fact that you live inside those borders. So, but it does bring money in. I guess it fuels more crooked politicians or something.
Yeah,
we get a better quality of crooked politicians here than they do elsewhere because we have big fights.
It's just going to be a nice people watching weekend. All right. May 2nd, the pool, the pools are open, so the skimpy bikinis are going to be all over.
Why do we call it people watching? I'm checking out babes. People. The guy could run by and have targets on them, and one handcuffed, and how much their reward is. And if there's a babe walking by in a bikini, a babe or a covey of young ladies walking by in their bikinis, the reward goes untaken, until they get down to the gay district or something, I suppose. But
all right. Football,
yeah. Talk about deflating some balls. yeah, football, football. Super Bowl's over. All kinds of stuff has gone on. No deflate gate. The big breaking story, Mark. Adrian Peterson reinstated. The judge overturned his suspension from the NFL, and it will take, from what I understand, legal-wise, it will take quite a bit of effort for the NFL to challenge this on whatever basis. They have to take another tack. It's not about the evidence or whatever. So this is pretty substantial for Adrian Peterson. He says he won't play for the Minnesota Vikings anymore, and there is a team out there somewhere who will take Adrian Peterson. Oakland Raiders,
yes,
are you listening? It does not matter who you are. If you can play at the level that Adrian Peterson has proven to be able to play at, somebody's going to take a shot at him, and he's going to be a real difference maker. I guarantee you, if Adrian Peterson decides he likes the color orange, and he goes to Denver, he and Peyton Manning, and that right there, Mark. If both of those guys are healthy during on Super Bowl week, it's those two that would hoist the trophy. So Adrian Peterson has some options. There is another nugget that came along that Peyton Manning is renegotiating or talking with John Elway about redoing his deal. That almost absolutely positively means that he's willing to give back some money, as John Elway did as a member of the Denver Broncos, so that they could afford other players under this salary cap. And if Peyton Manning's willing to do that, you say, okay, damn near everybody else on that team that wants to win a Super Bowl is willing to do that. These are multimillionaires willing to give up enough money to have Adrian Peterson as a teammate there. You're talking about a real game changer, and I don't think there's many teams. Minnesota doesn't want to lose him. They've been dealt a crappy hand, man. You know, they have 8 deuce, and everybody else is holding pocket pairs of something, and they've got no shot. They kind of turned their back on him. And they were in a tough spot too, Mark. It's not the Vikings had a whole lot of options either to deal with Adrian Peterson. You know, they forced him to suspend him. The stuff came out, and he didn't handle it well, and I don't know who advises him or whatever. Maybe every team needs to have a lawyer that's actually been a player. Put some of these ex-players through law school, send them back to, some of them are actually intelligent and got their educations in college. And Alan Page was the Chief Justice of the Minnesota Supreme Court,
That's
was he
right.
not?
Yes, he was.
Purple people leader.
Okay. L.A. What team's going to go to L.A.? NFL team.
Well, damn near all of them. Now there's 3 of them. You got the San Diego Chargers willing to move, the Oakland Raiders willing to move, and Stan Kroenke, who owns the Colorado Avalanche and also the St. Louis Rams, or did own owns the Rams, the Nuggets. They're all Stan Kroenke, which comes out of the Walmart fortune. Anyway, the Rams, they're talking about he wants a stadium, and the Inglewood passed it 100% unanimously to do the stadium deal, and I believe that was yesterday, Mark. And so the Rams may be the first ones to go back. And St. Louis is trying to keep them, and they need to have the election and do all that stuff and build a stadium for them. But it really looks to me like there's going to be an LA Rams, and these guys are going to come back. They're going to be rid of Sam Bradford, the guy of great talent, Heisman Trophy, and not a lot of luck health-wise. So they're going to have an exciting new something to build on the moment they hit town. But to me, it looks like the St. Louis Rams are going to play in Inglewood, and then that could change everybody else's plans. The Chargers are in San Diego because 2 teams didn't work in LA in the first place.
Yes.
Because they were the LA Chargers, and then they went, so I don't. There again, just like with Floyd, I don't know what's changed. What else got thrown into the pot that makes this deal work? One team in LA, couple work in New York, but 2 or 3 teams playing at 2 or 3 different stadiums just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
No.
But you're right. Somebody's gone. The St. Louis Chargers.
I was in Phoenix when the Rams moved there. Okay, you know, and
No, the Cardinals.
the Cardinals. That's what it was.
Cardinals.
Cardinals. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then the Rams moved to.
Which
Yeah.
that's all right. They came. Yeah, they came. The Cardinals came from St. Louis. They actually started in Chicago and then went to St. Louis and went from St. Louis to Arizona, and yeah.
Yeah. However,
Yeah.
it's going to be a privately paid for stadium. I like that part. All right. Yeah. All right. NASCAR.
Republican bastard.
I wear that with pride.
NASCAR. Mark.
The Bush.
The Daytona
Bush
500. Big Daddy was on the pole. Which was the bigger Bush story? That's the deal. I think Kyle's was. Dale Earnhardt died. It saved lives. There hasn't been a NASCAR death since Dale Earnhardt's, at least in the Sprint Cup Series. Safety has been improved incredibly. The soft walls, they call them soft walls, Mark, and we've stood on them. They're not soft, but they absorb the energy. I don't know that the shot that Kyle Busch took would have been significantly reduced. It would have been reduced some. But man, that was just the perfect storm for that, hauling ass across that grass. If there's asphalt there as he goes across, he's able to slam brakes, scrub off some speed, even if he barrel rolls or whatever. The cars are good for that, and the energy's dissipated. I don't think Kyle would have got all busted up. What he did, he hit a wall that didn't have a safe barrier on it. Jeff Gordon did that out here in Las Vegas, and Bruton immediately it screwed up Gordon's back, and has hastened or had some impact on his retirement plans, and now this is his last year. But Bruton put up the safer barriers on that inside wall. Gordon hit a spot that was like Achilles' heel, and that's what it was at Daytona. And they played Russian roulette, and Kyle Busch caught the bullet. And that's exactly what it is. And immediately knee-jerk reacted. Thank God nobody was hurt in the Cup race. But it's going to spur all these tracks to have we have a wall, put the safer barrier up. $500 a foot.
Oh,
now, I've looked at it, and I can't imagine how high-tech it must be to be $500 a foot. But what do I know? That seems kind of like the drug companies do. Okay, now it's $1,000 a pill.
Well, you made an interesting point that since Dale Earnhardt, they've not had a fatality, but yet the sport itself has not dwindled in excitement. The safety that they've made actually have not changed the sport, where normally if they make a change and the sport goes bad.
Yeah. I think, Mark, you can look back at NASCAR, and as we watched as kids, my favorite driver when I was a youngster was Fireball Roberts. And I don't know if his driving style was what caught me, or his nickname, but it was Glenn Fireball Roberts. Boy, and he was a Charger. He was Dale Earnhardt. He was get this bitch to the front. Let's go. Kyle Busch style. Died in a wreck, fiery wreck. Eddie Sachs and Dave McDonald were killed at Indianapolis in an enormous fire on the front stretch, and Swede Savage died at Indy, and so it brought about the fuel cells, and the fuel cells have virtually eliminated fires that kill people. Wrecks kill people, different things, people die, and certainly there have been some fires, but the elimination or the reduction in percentage of fire deaths has been incredible, and what a huge step forward, and that has translated to safety on for passengers in vehicles and on airplanes and those kind of things. So there has not been much bigger result of a safety issue than a fuel cell. The next thing down the road from that is the Hans devices that Dale Earnhardt, and roll cages, I suppose, but the Hans device that these guys got up to a speed where your brain keeps going and just your head snaps off the base of your the skull separates from your spine in these wrecks because there was so much force. They had just outlived the safety features and said, okay, we have to restrain these guys somewhere. Took Dale Earnhardt to die to do that. but there's been little saved to traded his life for some kid who you'll never read about because he was in a wreck and walked away from it unscathed.
Right.
Dale Earnhardt died. So, I guess some good coming out of something bad, but they needed to put the safer barriers up. Again, they played Russian roulette, and Kyle Busch is the guy that paid the price. So, it's cost him the season.
How long do you think he's out for?
Oh, he looks at Tony Stewart, who had a more severe break. It broke both bones in Stewart's leg. Kyle Busch broke one bone in his left leg and his right foot. The right foot probably is going to be the more pressing issue. Mark, you got the other bone in there, and they kind of use one to support the other and put rods and stuff like that. And once that heals up, you're good to go. Pushing your leg, it's he's not standing up. He's using the leg. So he's using his thigh and the muscles and everything, but that right foot, it works a lot harder than your left foot does in that race car, and I think that would be the issue that's going to be determine how long he's out. And he looks at Tony Stewart and says, "The guy limped around and wasn't worth a damn the whole year, so just staying home and kissing the wife and holding the new baby and stuff like that." So I think there's other circumstances that are going to say Kyle's just going to miss the whole year and let somebody get a year of NASCAR time in there. The M&M deserves whatever they can get. They've been pretty loyal sponsors to Kyle. He's kind of given them some chances to bail on him, and they have not done so. Toyota same way. Kyle's matured a lot, man. And it was tough to see him laying there and being hurt. He's never been anything but cool to me. I don't think I've ever asked him to take a photo with somebody, Mark, that there was reason to take a photo of, other than big boobs or something like that. And a guy comes by in a military uniform or whatever. There's a family there and a little kid or something like that. Kyle it really didn't matter what he was doing. He would stop and take a photo. He might only give me 15 or 20 seconds, but he would stop and take the photo and do whatever. Yeah, Kyle's an all right guy, and guy's mature. He's happy that Brad Keselowski coming along, and Keselowski is bring hockey to Las Vegas. What up here now?
Well, I figured that'd be our next topic.
Can you see me still, Mark? I got a pop-up ad. Vegas hockey. No, we don't. I don't think that's that's an interesting thing, Mark. This Vegas wants hockey. All right, get rid of that.
Hey.
Well, I can't see you anymore. It says Vegas wants hockey, and it won't go away.
Well, no.
That ain't gonna make it.
All right. So.
Hey, Mark. Go ahead. Oh, there it goes. It was just a pop-up ad that fired up on me. Good sports media is no longer something. Are we still doing good?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're fine. All right.
All right.
We're just moving on.
You say so. The NHL team coming to Las Vegas. Everybody's making kind of a big deal out of the Mark. Again, I'm a little skeptical that they're making a big thing about this. The Maloofs are involved in big money. Mr. Foley is involved in money. That's cool. They have the arena and everything, but keep this in mind: the Thrashers, when they went through this same process of pre-sell season tickets to prove to the NHL they were viable, a place to put a franchise, sold 10,000 season tickets in half an hour. When they opened up, when they said, "Okay, here's your commitment," the 3,000, Las Vegas yet to break commitments, and it's been going for the better part of a month now, Mark. So I think the NHL would love to be here. I think the Maloofs would be a wonderful addition to sports ownership, and certainly good guys, good stewards of whatever franchise, whatever it is, whatever sport finally decides to make Las Vegas a home. They always say we don't have major league sport. Hell yeah, we do. We have NASCAR. We have MMA. There is no other place on earth that has a major league sport as connected to it as MMA is to Las Vegas. You look at the different. Talk about boxing, man. If anything's really been the somewhat death knell, the buzzard flying overhead of boxing, it's the MMA. and we have that here, Mark. But somebody's going to come. Somebody's going to give a shot. Baseball, only because we're in the middle of the damn desert and we need dome stadium. That doesn't work here. Football, they're still ostriches with heads in the sand about gambling or whatever. I'd much rather know where the problem is and trust bookies who take in or put out the money. There's so much money now, you almost can't corrupt these guys that are multimillionaires. So you have to find some way deflating balls or buy off a referee or the taking a link out of the chain on the down. There's always something I suppose can be.
Now see my argument is kind of like yours. We have MMA, we have NASCAR, the two most popular sports on earth. We've got PBR, NFR, okay, but on top of that, we attract, hockey in the summer. What's it called, Fury on Ice? We get the combines, we get. The NBA comes in town and plays a couple of rounds.
The Olympic case.
Yeah, and I like that because there's nothing on the line other than sportsmanship.
Yeah.
They come here, they compete, but it's not like if we lose this, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. If we lose this, we're not going to go to the All-Star game. It's just pure athleticism to see these teams play the game as pure as they can play it because there's no pressure on them to win or lose other than pride. So that's me.
You're right, Mark. And as we sit there and watch USA basketball, we've been you watch those guys, and it is that pure competition. They're not an extra dollar. It's costing some of them guys, man. And my goodness, you look at the injuries that affected the guys from that team. You look at Kobe broke down, Kevin Durant broke down, Paul George got his leg broken, LeBron has missed some games, Dwayne went down, on and on and on. These guys give a lot of their career, a lot of them physically, that cost them money because they can't play one more year at $20 million in the NBA or whatever to compete, to play in that, to put the American flag over their shoulders at the Olympics and hear the Star-Spangled Banner. And it's cool to watch them practice to do that because they have their game faces on there, man. You see some. One of the coolest things, and the list of the things I've been fortunate God has blessed me to be able to witness here in Las Vegas, sports-wise and across America. But for the most part, most everything I saw that was memorable happened here in Las Vegas. Man, to see those things and be able to witness all the different things, man. Some things stand out more than others, and that's one of them. You're just like, wow. How and there, I guess that kind of goes, well, Mark, not to get way off subject or whatever.
No, we never do that.
Yeah, well, this is my shirt for St. Baldrick's Day.
Yep.
And we're still attempting to get hold of Gordon's people and see if they'll give me a quick shave out there. You are going to help us Skype that back, and St. Baldrick's Day is March 7th, the day of the Xfinity race at Speedway, and the event that is the number 5 in the nation, in the world, for collecting funds for St. Baldrick's Day is McMillan's Irish Pub there on Tropicana, right across the street from the Orleans, and that goes on March 7th. If you want to get shaved, you want to help shave, you want to do something, you want to volunteer, you want to throw a few bucks in the kitty, everything is greatly appreciated. At least 82% goes of any funds collected goes directly to childhood cancer research. I've let my hair grow 2 years. Can you see this? Here, I'm still holding my hair right here. 2 years I've let this grow so it would be long enough to make a wig for a kid. In addition to raising funds, I wanted to go for a reason. This is the last time I'm going to have hair this long, man. So, but it's certainly for a good cause at St. Baldrick's Day. Yeah. So we're working on things, Mark. But as I was saying, there's so many things that go on here in Las Vegas that you see that nobody else on earth is privy to seeing, and so many big things happen here. Sometimes they overlap each other, this as to get way back to a point that we made earlier. There is a lot riding on this fight other than just the outcome of the fight. The fight itself has to be compelling. I do not see that in the cards unless Manny after Floyd and knocks his ass out in the first round. Unless Floyd gets a real charge of testosterone and goes after Manny and catches him. Lucky it's not that Floyd doesn't have the ability to knock him out one punch, but it would probably be the last punch he'd throw. His hands are pretty fragile. He's always tearing up his hands in whatever fight it is. You know, it kind of comes with the territory. He's a little guy, and it's going to be interesting to see how this works because, man, the enormity of what they have on their backs. Who else, Mark? What other two fighters can you name? What other two viable fighters that anybody's going to pay 10 cents for to watch other than these two?
That's it.
That's a damn short list, ain't it?
Yeah.
Bernard Hopkins is still fighting. He's 50 years old. He is within a year of being the light heavyweight champion of the world. He's still fighting. De La Hoya could get back in the ring and be the most recognizable guy in there. It's a wonder, Sugar Leonard doesn't suit up, man, and throw some gloves on. He makes. I guess he did pretty good with his money, but excuse me, it's a sad state of affairs for boxing. Other than this fight, man, there's just such an incredible amount. The heavyweight division is a laughing stock. Deontay Wilder is our American champion, and he could walk in through any casino here in Las Vegas. He could walk through any place, down any street in America, Mark, and people might look at him and say, "Who is this guy?" But other than that, I would bet just damn near anything I've ever had or ever will have that people don't recognize him, and he's the heavyweight champion of the world. So there is an enormous amount riding on this. Amateur boxing, our Olympic boxing team, if they don't get some enthusiasm into the world of boxing, overall, amateurs, pros, dead people, live, I don't care. Whatever they do, they need that injection, man. This is stand back time. The two pads they're putting on the chest and saying stand back. One's name is Pacquiao and the other one's name is Mayweather. And it better restart boxing's heart or boxing's in the final stages. Yes. It's just gonna fold up its tent. It'll be a niche sport for a long time just because people like to fight, but you're not going to see gyms. I think it's all moving heavily towards MMA. Mark, it's a more functional thing to learn. First of all, if you're a boxer, okay, somebody kicked me in my nuts. Oh, crap! There went all my boxing skills. At least with MMA, okay, somebody kicked me in my nuts. Now I'm going to break his leg. So I think it gives you. It's more adaptable to real life.
And then like last year down at the D was jiu-jitsu, which is
absolutely,
that was fun to watch. That was actually fun.
Jiu-jitsu is one of the foundations. Jiu-jitsu is one of the three foundations of MMA. There's jits, which is a kind of a slang name that most people use it, so I guess I have to get my point across. But it's jiu-jitsu, boxing or wrestling. Those are the three regimens. Judo and jiu-jitsu very closely related. Karate, somewhat, but with the open hands, once they pat up the hands and stuff like that, karate tends to lose its effectiveness. But boxing skills are pretty good to bring into the ring. Wrestling skills, certainly a long list of champions at one time or another have a boxing background. Olympic boxers, Randy Couture comes to mind as a wrestler. Wrestling background to second to none, at least in MMA, and the jiu-jitsu guys, and when you mix them all together, Mark, you have that wonderful sport that is MMA. And you know how I am, I don't do the National Finals Rodeo. It bores the crap out of me because the PBR people spoiled me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people go for, the Bulls anyhow. So now we got them all at once. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like the NFR on steroids for the Bulls junkies. So you get that with MMA. They said, okay, you put two TVs next to each other and have one. Friday night fights from wherever the hell they are, anything other than Mayweather and Pacquiao. Put the fights on one, the boxing, and put an MMA event on an octagon on the other TV, and see which one people are standing in front of.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can go head to head with them.
MMA.
They're the elephant in the room right now. So. What's going to come along? I mean, I guess we could have gladiators and suit them up with ninja swords and them Obi-Wan Kenobi things. Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh.
There'd be an idea.
What's up with the Vegas Lions?
The Vegas Lions, Mark, have joined the APFL. Thanks for asking. And
that's my job.
They have gone. Well, they have gone from being a unpaid extension of high school team for the most part to they are now semi-pros. They are insuring these young men that play. They are paying them a stipend. They have upgraded every last single thing they could upgrade. And to Jeff Belknap and Bill Miller, I say congratulations. These guys are doing it right. Chances of success are certainly not 100%. If it was just from hard work, they'd already be there, and dedication. They've got so much to overcome here, Mark, in Las Vegas in particular, because of every last one that has come down the pike as far as semi-pro or anything other than major league professional type sports. Tough road to hoe just to overcome the bad taste in people's mouths from so many different teams that have flown by night. I mean, and you've had some that have tried that have really stuck around. The Wranglers, it was fun to go to a Wranglers hockey game there at the Orleans, man. And but they just couldn't survive. They can't make this market because there's slot machines between the door leading into the door to the arena and the front door to the casino. It's all them table games and slot machines, and people just stay there and they don't go. And it is a tough road to hoe here. And again, there's a lot of unpaid bills. There's a lot of assholes that have come and gone in semi-pro sports. But these two guys are doing it about as right as you can do it, as far as I'm concerned. They've joined this APFL. There's a franchise in Phoenix. There's a franchise in Palm Springs. There's a franchise in San Diego. And the Las Vegas Lions are playing a spring schedule. There is interest in having a team in Puerto Rico. This is the real deal, and they're paying these cats, and the practices have been wonderful. I'm fortunate enough to be able to shoot photos of these guys, and they're out there. The combine was great, man. It was not NFL quality, Mark, but it was certainly pulling into the neighborhood, pulling into the gas station and asking the guy, how do we get there? And the guy says, go down here to the fork in the road and take that, and so that's where they are in this development. But they've made a big commitment, and they've made a huge advance. Mouse Davis, the father, the absolute godfather of the run and shoot offense, the guy whose idea it was, and the guy who, if you like fast-paced football, if you like watching Chip Kelly in Philadelphia and all the stuff they got going on in Oregon and the different kinds of, and I think it's very exciting football. Mouse Davis, he is the commissioner of this league, and the Coyotes that play out of Palm Springs are the Gorman High School of this league. They have quite a few ex-NFL players. Most everybody else is at least a Division I player, but they are populated by some real football players. So it makes everybody else step up. You don't want to be the doormat. You don't want to get stuffed by 70 points.
Yeah.
And so there's some big fellas at the combine. They were slamming into each other. I thought I was back watching sumo when I was checking out the guys' offensive line and D line, Mark, and the photos are up on Good Sports. They're also up on the Vegas Lions. At least some of them are, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be involved with these guys, and God bless them. I really hope it works, Mark. But they've bitten off a big chunk. But the APFL come out to they play where Findlay Prep plays basketball at the International School up in Henderson. I think they would like to be located a little closer to the center of town. The stadium issue was something that was that they were working with, simply because it was a lot more convenient, made a lot more sense, fan base wise, to be able to play downtown, and they were hoping
Right.
for that. They worked very hard and put a lot of effort into it. It didn't come to fruition. I don't think the stadium issue is dead. I think it's asinine to keep screwing around and not. You talked about how much money the fight brings in, Mark. Look what UNLV athletics brings into Las Vegas, and on top of that, what the Thomas and Mack brings in when they have fights there or do some big events there, the NFR, the PBR, and all those kind of things. So you look at that money that's generated, and why we don't, as a community, figure out we need to take care of UNLV. They can put the damn stadium downtown and call it UNLV Stadium like they do in Tempe, Arizona, and get a Super Bowl. If they just do it right one time and get it over with, instead of everybody playing cutthroat, we'd be better off as a community, and they could take care of UNLV and improve and give Tony Sanchez a shot at winning, because he's not going to have it with that stadium out there in damn near Arizona. It's not going to work. And if I'm wrong, at least we'll have a stadium, and they'll bring in a soccer team or whatever we can get. But I think that's the only cure, Mark. I think going to be another stadium sooner or later. The Samboyd Silver Bowl, whatever the hell you want to call it. It sucks. It's old. It's not convenient in the least, and it's conducive to any kind of home field advantage. Or they'd already used it.
Well, it's been interesting because since the soccer thing died out, a lot of the guys that have been in the peripheral, not in the spotlight, but kind of supporting the idea, that's basically what it sounds like that they're pushing for, is to bring everybody together and pointing towards a UNLV style stadium, something that's just it's a community stadium. It's not soccer. It's not it's a community, and kind of like what you're preaching is starting to bubble up to the top.
Well, Mark, the casinos don't like each other because it's money. If you're over at Caesar's Palace, then you're not over at the Mirage or across the street at the Flamingo. It's that deal. It's that drug dealer business. We're going to give you something and get you in here, and then we're going to take all your money. And so it's that same mindset. So they spend all their time slitting each other's throats instead of just doing something. And it's kind of like Mideast peace, to expect that all the casinos are going to get together. Shit, it took negotiations to get them all to agree to turn off Jerry Tarkanian. It took negotiations. They didn't just here's what we're going to do, because it's the Las Vegas Strip. Imagine if one of them had left imagine the difference it would have made symbolically if one of them had left the lights on and just not knuckled under. But I guarantee you it was not 100% that they want to. They don't like turning off them lights.
Right.
And so I don't think the corporations have near the appreciation for Jerry Tarkanian and Lois Tarkanian. If ever there's been a power couple in Las Vegas, it's not Steve and Elaine Wynn. It's Jerry and Lois Tarkanian. And Tarkanian is one hell of a public servant. And when it is her time, I guarantee you I will cry. But man, if ever there's the next person that they need to lower the lights for dim the lights on the Las Vegas Strip, is Lois Tarkanian. And she was the voice in the wilderness until Bob Beers came along in getting the stadium correctly done, Mark. And I guess that's the point, just what you said. If we can bring everybody together, it will be second to the peace in the Mideast, as far as doing something for the community and getting these guys. But you look at what Lois Tarkanian did, man. She She held her ground. She does not knuckle under to anybody. And behind every good man is a good woman. And behind Jerry Tarkanian was Lois Tarkanian. And God bless her. She's grieving the loss of her best friend and her husband. And there's nothing you can do to help her speed up that process, man. But she's certainly in my prayers. And I spoke to her briefly days ago, Mark, and it's a tough process for Lois, but my goodness, without her, where would we be? We'd be building a stadium for a non-existent deal and be stuck quarter of $1 billion on the line with no real chance of getting it back. So yeah, there's other ways to skin this cat with this stadium, Mark. But if we as a community take care of UNLV, so what if the NFR is downtown instead of Thomas and Mack? Thomas and Mack is aging, and they've got different things that they could do there. Again, there's enough pie for everybody to have some. It's who's going to benefit, and if we can just get them to stop shooting at each other. They shoot each other in the foot, but both of them end up with hobble problems. You know what I mean? If they just kind of get along, they could run that 3-man race. All right, let's just shoot one of us in the foot, and we'll run the 3-legged race, and we'll get to the finish line. So, it remains to be seen how that happens, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Couple things. Finley is involved, and the Fertittas now, two pretty darn big names here. With Tony Sanchez going to the Running Rebels, supposedly
they got some pull.
The worst kept secret in the world is that $30 million came from the Fertittas along with Tony Sanchez to move from Corman. And
nobody saw the envelope change hands. Now nobody saw the envelope go. Come on.
You can't hide $30 million. You know what I mean? It's UNLV's going to have to account for it. It's not like they're the University of Texas with billions in their athletic department account. $30 million will show up like a sore thumb there. By the way, Mark, I know we're getting a little late. Major League Weekend baseball coming to Cashman Field, March 13th, 14th, something like that. I lost the. I don't have it still open here. From Jim Gemma, let me see what we got. You got it? I'll get it. I'll find it.
All right.
Anyhow, the Oakland A's are playing the Chicago Cubs. The Oakland A's have a good friend of most everybody that does anything like this in Las Vegas, as our buddy Ken Korak, who is the long-time announcer for the 51s. And got his big break and really was torn between Las Vegas and whatever. And he went on the Oakland A's announcer now, and he's coming back, and it's going to be a real homecoming for those of us that like Ken Korak. The games are Friday, March 13th at 5:05 and Saturday, March 14th at 12:05. And ticket price is $35 for reserve seats, $45 for plaza seats, and $55 for field seats. It is Major League Baseball, and it is a ball. There's you talked about everybody that's anybody. It's not really Gucci Row there at the Major League game. But you see quite a few people, and you see, who always tends to show up is world famous chefs. Barry DeCoque was there a few years ago. I don't know why it attracts chefs. They don't bring any food down to the press room, but
no, they don't.
Jim Gemma takes care of us there in the press box, and it's always cool. But like I say, Ken Korak coming back is as cool to those of us in the industry. What a class individual he is, and it's always cool to see. And you get to watch Major League Baseball, man. $55, you can be close enough to catch a foul ball right in the chops if you sit past the net. But yeah, Cashman Field. If they could just transport that weather to late July, early August out there, we would have a Major League Baseball franchise.
All right.
All right. NASCAR's coming in March 8th. Baldrick's Day, March 7th. Go to McMullen's Irish Pub. You can log on anywhere and find if you get shaved. If you'd like to shave, if you want to help out, please donate money. It goes to saving kids from having cancer.
All right. Same time, same place next week?
That's what they look like.
All right.
Same
Okay.
place, same time next week. Mark, I'm ready, buddy. Thanks,
All right.
thanks so much. Always good, and all those listeners. And we want to give a shout out, Silver City, New Mexico, the home of Western New Mexico University. And Con, she's a faithful listener and watcher down there. So
All right.
anyway, thanks all for listening. For Mark Anthony, I'm Rick Rosen. You've been listening on Good Sports Media. We'll talk to you again next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hang on. There we go.